Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Just settling in for a little live time with you to talk about a calendar that you can trust. So my name is Elise Enriquez. I am a purpose and productivity coach, and it is my job to help you align your day-to-day ground level actions with your higher level purpose. And one of the ways to do that, and one of the most important ways you can do that, is to have a calendar that you can actually trust. So really what a calendar is intended to be, and what it can be when it's trustful and useful, is it's intended to really show the hard landscape of your day, the stops and starts to your day, the hard edges of your day, of the things that really actually have to get done. And because of this, it really should be the first place that you go to see what is happening in your day, right? Because it tells you how much time you actually have to do anything else. So when your calendar is trustworthy, you can look at it and know when you're going to be occupied, what actually needs to get done that day, and then any open space is time where you can get anything else done, right? Let me give you a quick example. Yesterday, I was leading a half-day workshop, and I had another coaching client in the morning, and this half-day workshop was an offsite somewhere that I was driving to. And so basically, got in for my day with maybe a half hour of prep time before my client, but looking at my calendar, I could see I had that little half hour of prep time, or no, I had an hour of prep time, and then I had my client, and then I had an hour before I was going to be showing up for the workshop. But really, I had about 15 minutes when you factored in travel time to wrap up my client session, heat something up, hop in the car, and drive to this workshop that I was leading. So that meant I had an hour before at the beginning of my day, and then 15 minutes between my client and the workshop, and then that was it for my whole working day. Like the rest of my day was going to be consumed by that workshop. So that really helped me focus my time. There was nothing else on my calendar except for a client appointment, drive time, and the workshop. So being able to look at that, I knew exactly how much time I had to do anything else, which then would allow me to go to my to-do lists, like my action list, to see what can I get done in this hour before my first client, and in these 15 minutes between my first client and having to leave the office to go to that workshop. And realistically, what happened in those 15 minutes was I went to the bathroom, I heated up a burrito for the road, I packed everything up and got out of Dodge and headed to my client session. But I could only do that because my calendar is one that I trust. It is one where only what actually has to be done that day is on there. So let's talk about how you can have a calendar that you can trust. It's taken me a while to figure out how to do this, which seems like maybe it shouldn't. And maybe you feel that way. It shouldn't be hard to have a calendar that you trust. But let me just give you my tips and see how that helps you. So the first thing that you have to do is get everything on to one calendar. What I mean by everything is a lot of us have separate calendars. So the calendar can be, your Outlook calendar, or if you like Google, you might have a Google calendar, or the calendar on your iPhone or your iPad, or on your Surface, whatever it might be. But whatever the calendar app is that you use, it's getting all of the calendars in one place. So for example, some of you who have kids, your schools have a calendar that they can publish, that you can add to your own calendar. You might have a home calendar and a work calendar, but sometimes home stuff happens during work hours, and work stuff might have to happen during home time. And so getting everything into one place where you can see it all in one view is really important. That can be overwhelming. And so what I do to keep it from being overwhelming is I use a lot of color coding. So I have, anything that is a client session for me, a coaching client session for me is in green, right? Anything that's personal is in yellow. Anything that's travel time is in red. And let me tell you, that red one, having it in red is really helpful because it helps me see how much driving I'm doing and helps me think about whether or not I really want to be doing that much driving, whether I really want to be spending that much time on the road and not in my business. So that's been a good one for me to have on there. But then for anything that's not mine, but I need to know about, is in gray. And that way it's there and it's for my awareness, but then I just change the color to gray. So I don't have to worry about me having to do that. It's just an FYI, it's just a heads up. So that's a way for you to have everything on one calendar without being overwhelmed. But getting everything to one calendar is gonna be really important, because otherwise you can't look at your calendar and trust that you know what your day actually looks like. So that's the first thing that needs to happen. And there's really only one more thing that needs to happen, but this thing is a little bit bigger, a little bit harder. That other thing that needs to happen is you can't keep your to-do list on your calendar. And what I might need to rephrase that and say you shouldn't be keeping your I'd like to-do list on your calendar, because Lord knows that's what happens. Like, I'd like to get this done on Monday, and you add a bunch of things to your calendar on Monday. And realistically, you don't know what Monday's going to look like. Lots of things could happen, which means you're just shuffling things from one day to the next, and that's not helpful. So, hey Marcel, I love this topic too, in case you can't tell. So it's a matter of getting your to-do list off your calendar and really treating your calendar as sacred territory. As I said earlier, like the hard landscape of your day. And what I mean by that, like when you think about landscaping, the hard landscape of your backyard or sidewalks, decks, retaining walls, and then you fill in the rest of it, you know, with whatever you want. You know, whatever plantings you want. Calendar's the same way. There's the hard edges of this beginnings and endings of appointments, and you know, when you need to leave to get somewhere in time, like the travel time. Those are the things that have to happen. They're non-negotiable because they're appointments that you committed to. And so those are the hard edges, the hard landscapes of your day. So it's making sure that you can have that on your calendar and nothing else. So let's dig into treating your calendar as sacred territory just a little bit more. So the first thing is to treat the hour level of your calendar, and I have a really beautiful visual for you, but like this hour level down here, treating that as sacred territory. The only thing that goes here is appointments. That is the only thing that goes there. I have definitely seen on calendars a reoccurring appointment on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. of water the plants. Now, if you happen to have a super special plant that really does require watering at exactly 10 a.m. or exactly the same time on, you know, every other day, then sure, that's an appointment. But if not, then it should not go in that hourly level. The only thing that should go there are commitments you've actually made, meetings that you have, a doctor's appointment, drive time, like I talked about earlier. That's what goes there. So that's the hour level. That's appointments only. Then there's the day level. On a lot of calendars, like on Google Calendar, you have the hour level, but things can also be saved at the day level. And the day level is meant for things like, you know, action that has to happen on that day, but doesn't have to happen at a specific time, and reminders that you might want to know about. So action might be, you know, you told Mike that you would call on Monday, and so you didn't have a specific time that you are calling Mike, but you just have to call him on Monday to follow up on something. So that can go at the day level. Another example might be that, you know, tickets are going on sale for a show that you want, and so you want to buy tickets that day, but you're not having to do it at a specific time, unless of course they're Hamilton tickets going on sale at 10 a.m. then that's a 10 a.m. spot for sure on your calendar. But other than that, you know, it's a matter of having, okay, that day level reminder of something that, of some action that you want to take. And it's action that has to be taken that day, not action you would like to take that day. And I'll tell you where that stuff goes later. And then there's the things that could also be at that day level are day level reminders. So those are things you want to know about, but not necessarily action you need to take. So for example, one that's commonly on my calendar is Barley and Baxie. Barley and Baxie are my two dogs, and I don't have them all the time. So whenever I know I'm going to have them, I put that at the day level of my calendar, so I remember that they'll be with us. So I can make sure I'm not scheduling stuff that's going to take me away for the weekend or going to be gone all day when they're going to be there, right? It's important for me to know that I'll have them, so I can, you know, make plans otherwise if I need to. So that's a day level reminder. It's not action I need to take. It's just something I need to know about. Another example is, you know, we have a friend coming into town in a couple of weeks, and so she's at the day level of my calendar of being here from this day to that day. So I remember, okay, this person's going to be there. I need to, you know, be thoughtful about that in terms of, you know, what I'm planning to do and making sure I'm not gone too much so that I can hang with my friend. So that's day level stuff. Another day level reminder might be something like, you know, check in on proposal. Or another one I do is like make sure the deposit went through that that I know it's supposed to go through in 3 days. So I toss it a day level reminder to just check and make sure the deposit came through. So again, these are only things that have to happen or that you want to be reminded of on that day, nothing else. And when you do this, it allows your calendar to, again, show you just the places where you can actually get other work done. So where does all that other stuff go? Stuff that doesn't necessarily have to happen on a specific day or at a specific time. That goes onto a task list. That the tool I use to manage my projects and tasks is GQueues. I talked about that in a video a couple of weeks ago, and I can link to that below. But that's where those kinds of activities get captured, and those are things that just need to happen as soon as possible. So what happens is when I look at my calendar and I see that I need to be somewhere, but I have a 1 hour break between when I need to, between now and when I need to leave, then I go to my task list to see what needs to get done that day, my as soon as possible list, but not necessarily the things that have to get done that day. Those things are on my calendar. So I use GQueues for that. So when you create a calendar you trust, then it allows you to become more realistic about what you can do, because then you're realizing, I only get, like me, yesterday, I only had 15 minutes. I had an hour at the beginning of my day, and after that, I only had 15 minutes, and which allows me to say, okay, nothing else is getting done today. That's it. I'm going to meet with my client. I'm going to have 15 minutes to transition. I'm going to get in the car and maybe make a couple phone calls. But after that, I'm going to be with this group for the rest of the day leading a workshop. And that's great. And that's fine. And that allows me to be present with them, which is really important, right? So the more you can get your calendar and turn it into something that you can trust, the more that you can have some peace about what's getting done and what's not getting done. And the more you can be present with the people that you're with and the activities that you're actually doing. And in order to do that, you got to get everything in one place, get it all in one calendar, and you got to make sure that your to-do list is not on there. The only thing you have on there are things that have to happen, like appointments at the hour level, or things that have to happen that day. And when you do that, you will then have a calendar you can trust. So feel free to comment below with any questions you have, and I will hop on and answer them to the best of my ability. Looking forward to talking with you again next time. Bye.